Welcome back to Donkey Rescue TV. Today's guest is our East Coast manager, Kimberly Clark. So sit back, relax, and cue the music. My name is Mark Myers. Most people just call me the Burro Man. I travel the country with my dogs rescuing donkeys from abuse, neglect, abandonment, or sometimes it's just wild burros that the government doesn't want anymore. My staff helps me care for more than 3,000 donkeys all across the country. Donkey rescue is not what we do, it's who we are. So Kimberly, welcome.
Thank you.
This is your first time in the new studio. What do you think?
It is. It's very green.
Very green. Not to them, but to us. It's very green. You missed, Tim was here and in a very loud shirt.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes, so we'll have to see how that comes out with my screen. So Kimberly runs our East Coast Transport and Training Facility out in Concord, Virginia. She can house up to, what, 150, 200 donkeys?
150 to 200.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we did that is everything used to start and end in Texas. So all the rescued donkeys came to Texas, all the adoptable donkeys left from Texas. And driving to New England from Texas is a very, very long way. And it takes about 2.5 days to get there, which means we had to lay the donkeys over somewhere. It's a big hassle. And we needed a week of clear weather to do it. You never know when you're going to have a clear winter day in New England. So now what we can do is we can take you the donkeys, and then you can distribute them. How many satellites do we have out on the east side now?
7.
7? And that's from the tip of Florida all the way up to upstate New York, correct?
Exactly.
More coming in all the time.
Yes.
So most of those places you can reach in a day, day and a half, right?
A day.
So with you get a day of clear weather, you can take them donkeys.
Yes.
But a lot of those, especially in New England, we couldn't make deliveries all winter. We had a very narrow delivery. And so we have the same setup out west now too. So let's share, how did you become involved with Peaceful Valley?
I actually rescued a baby donkey that I was bottle feeding and was sure I was doing it all wrong, and did some research online, and there was nothing out there except Peaceful Valley. And I actually sent you an email and said, what do I do? And you responded right away, which I was really impressed with. And you said, as long as he's eating, he's going to be fine. And it just lifted this huge weight off my shoulders.
And that's probably all I said.
Yeah,
too,
it was.
I'm not very
one-line
loquacious
email.
in my
No.
emails. People get put off by me because if you ask me a yes or no question, I will give you a yes or a no.
Yeah, it was short and sweet, but it was all I needed to know that I was doing the right thing. And I read your satellite adoption center information at the time, and that just stayed with me. And I eventually ended up getting my baby donkey's brother, and then I ended up getting the rest of his family. And I felt like that was probably all I could do personally, but I wanted to do more to help donkeys. I had learned about the hide trade during that process, and reached back out and submitted my application to become a satellite adoption center, and that happened maybe
And it's a
about
neat
month
program.
later. It is a great program.
It's a great way if you don't want the hassle of running your own nonprofit, which is it's a hassle. It is. It's a great way to be involved in rescue, to help us out, to help donkeys be a part of the family, be a part of the team. I believe the website is satellitecenters.org, if I'm not mistaken. It'll take you right to the application. So if you're all interested, check it out. Go to the website. And so that baby donkey was your first donkey?
It was. Little Jackson, I still have him. He's just turned 7.
And how did you end up? Why did you pick a donkey all of a sudden?
I didn't. I considered myself a horse girl, and I went to a grand opening of an equestrian center, and it was brand new, so all the stalls were open except for one. And I went and I looked in the stall, and there was this little brown fluff ball laying there, and I knew it wasn't a horse, but I didn't know donkeys came in any other colors besides gray. So I went in and I sat down on the ground with him, and he stood up and he came and he sat on my lap and threw his head over my shoulder. I was gone. That was it. Donkey girl from there. Yep.
People do not understand how lovable these animals
Yep.
are. They're
Just like a big dog. I was shocked.
So you went from being a satellite to the newly minted position of Eastern States Regional Manager.
Yes.
And that happened in March when we were in Las Vegas at the trustee meeting, and the trustees unanimously approved bringing you on in that position. And it's it's been great. I mean, we are really, really moving a lot of donkeys now, and it's been an incredible experience. So tell me some stories about being a satellite and getting your first load of donkeys. I don't believe I took your first load, did I?
You didn't know, Zach and one other person brought me the first donkeys. At the time, our driveway wasn't set up to receive large trailers. So I had collected a group of friends to meet us there and help offload at the street and walk them down what's a fairly long driveway.
It is.
It's curvy. And so we get all the donkeys off, and all my friends have the donkeys with halters, and so that was, a little bit of a process. And one of my favorite all-time donkeys took one of my very good friends for a fast run down the driveway, and we were all kind of screaming, "Just let go, he won't go anywhere, there's no place for him to go." And she's like, "No, I have it," and you kind of see her legs flying along behind her. That was my first introduction to getting the donkeys, but they were all wonderful, and that donkey ended up with a friend of mine, and so I still get to see updates on him. And
how many donkeys do you think you've adopted out since your involvement?
About 100. Yeah, we've been doing it for about 4 years, and we are luckily in a fairly good area where our weather's okay, and we get about 2 deliveries a year. And then we had a couple of long-term adopters prior to us becoming a satellite adoption center, return donkeys to us as the owners were aging and they just couldn't take care of them anymore. So we kind of self-fed ourselves with donkeys for a little bit too. It's been really interesting learning the donkey dynamics too, the relationships. We've had a couple of relatives come in, mothers, sons, or donkeys that have been together for a really long time, and you may initially think, oh, they're not bonded, it's okay to adopt them out separately, and then you may start to take one away from the others and you realize, oh, that's not going to work.
Yes. Yeah, people don't realize the bonded pair is just that. They are bonded.
And it's not always 100% easy to see it until you try to split them up.
Yes.
Not that you're trying to split them up, but you take one away and then you recognize it. So that's been a real learning curve for me. But I just knew that I wanted to help more and more donkeys, and at first I thought, oh, we couldn't possibly fit more than 10 where we are. It was like, oh, we could do 20. Oh, we have room for 30, and you don't realize how little space they take up. You have one horse taking up a 12 by 12 stall, and I routinely go into my barn, which they can all go wherever they want, and I'll find 16, 17 donkeys all standing like sardines voluntarily in one little space, and there's still room for more.
Yeah.
I could
So,
easily
but
fit 200
besides,
now.
so you're still adopting out of your house.
Yes.
And then we have the facility that we're leasing right now, which is where we can hold a lot more donkeys.
A lot more donkeys there, yes.
But that one's not open to the public like
Right.
this one.
Right.
And that's just because of the way it's kind of set up.
Yeah.
We have nothing to hide. We don't necessarily need people showing up.
No.
So we're going to take a quick break, hand it over to Jessica, and we'll see you on the other side.
Heads up, East Coast, we need y'all to save the date. Sunday, October 7th, Peaceful Valley will be hosting Donktoberfest in Nelliesford, Virginia. There's going to be adoptable donkeys, live music, and our very own Mark Myers will be there to talk donkeys with you. For more information, visit our website at www.donktoberfest.com. Back to you, Mark.
All right, Jess, thanks. So what's a day like for you? I mean, you've got donkeys to feed, of course. You've got donkeys to train. You've got satellite adoption centers that you have to stay in contact with. So you must be really busy.
Really busy is an understatement. The day probably starts around 6 a.m. and the first thing we do is get up and check and make sure that everybody's good. Maybe throw in some breakfast there somewhere along the line. Then start, like you said, all of the feeding and watering. But that whole process is also, especially for the training donkeys, part of getting them friendly.
Yeah.
Not that they need to be fed because they all come to us healthy, but we do give them a little bit of feed every morning. And it's interesting, the donkeys that would normally maybe stand away or not want to come up, they see the food and then they're happy to come right up next to you. So it's all part of the training process, cleaning the pens. And then actually working with the donkeys, and I like to start with the donkeys that are friendly first,
Right.
so that the donkeys that are maybe a little bit timid or scared see that, hey, that donkey walked up, it's not scared, it's getting a little special treat, you know, maybe I'll go stick my nose in there. And it's that slow process of them starting to build trust. And it's amazing. I don't feel like I'm really doing the training. I feel like the other donkeys
Right.
are doing the training. I'm just there to help facilitate it.
And that the friendliness is, to me, the most important part of the training process of the
Absolutely.
adoption program. If they're not friendly, they don't want to be touched, and it's so you really have to get friendly donkeys first. And they might not be friendly because of past abuse or neglect, or they were wild. Could be, you know, any number of things. But once they know that you're not going to hurt them, the process goes pretty quickly, I think.
It does, and I'll give you a great example of that. The very first donkey I picked up as an owner surrender had never been touched. He was 5 years old, and he was probably the hardest pickup we've done. He literally was shaking like a leaf. I've never seen that before, and luckily he was small. He's just a small standard. We literally had to pick him up and load him into the trailer because he was completely paralyzed. And we got him back to the training facility, and I just thought, I'm never gonna lay hands on this donkey again once I let him loose, and that's okay. He'll just live a nice life here. And we let him loose with some really friendly donkeys. And one day I was in the barn with my husband, and we were doing something, and all of a sudden this donkey had popped up under my arm, and I looked down and I said, "Who's that?" And my husband said, "It's Georgie." And I said, "What do I do?" And he said, "Pet him." And I did. I pet his head, and he just, it's like a switch goes off, and he just leaned into me, and he let me hug him all over his body, and he did a complete turnaround, seemingly overnight, but it was just giving him the chance and the time to feel comfortable and see all the other donkeys getting love, and that was probably one of my most rewarding moments. But seeing his current condition was probably one of the worst.
I don't know if the folks at home can hear, but we have donkeys braying outside the studio for some reason. I kept hearing something. So you mentioned your husband.
Mm-hmm.
You work together.
We do.
How was that? A lot of married couples don't work well together. I know Amy and I have always done it and been very successful. But what's that like?
The trick to us working well together is me staying out of his way while he's doing something. So we kind of make a large circle around the farm, and while he's maybe filling waters, I'm doing feed. It's just staying out of each other's way. But overall, I wouldn't change it for anything. It's really, that's an amazing experience because you, as a couple, feel like you're building something together. And in our case, it's building a facility where donkeys can come and get friendly and feel happy and get out of whatever situation they were in, and then go find their forever home. And that's one of my favorite parts, is doing the matchmaking.
Right.
So it's not just about placing this donkey over in this home, it's finding the right donkey for that home and the right home for that donkey. And I think I've been really successful at that.
Well, and you guys both have huge hearts for animals. I mean, how many dogs do you have?
12, they're not all our dogs. We do foster dogs. Yes,
That's a lot.
yes. It is a lot.
Donkey rescue is not always fun.
No,
And do you have any personal donkeys that are just yours?
I do.
I mean,
still
like I have mine here that stay by the visitor center, and they'll be here forever because they're mine.
Yes.
So, but nothing lives forever.
No, luckily all of mine will live forever. But no, we've had, they don't live forever, and we've had some instances where that has happened at our place. I think one of the worst scenarios was a family group that came in. It was a mom, a son, and the son's best friend, but they were basically like brothers. And it was a mistake on my part. I adopted out the mom separately. I didn't think she was bonded. And the adopter called and said she's not thriving, she's not doing well. She was with another donkey that they came in together, so she was adopted with a donkey. But she just wasn't happy, and so we went and picked her up. And when we brought her home, we did blood tests, and we found out that her liver was basically failing. And we had to put her down, and that was...
It's hard. It's hard, but unfortunately, it's a part of the job. You know, we have to be good stewards and make those tough
Yeah.
calls sometimes.
And I'm glad we were able to do that and prevent suffering, long-term suffering.
Well, I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for today. Please remember that the Peaceful Valley Donkey Rescue is supported entirely through private donations. Go to our website, donkeyrescue.org, and make a donation. While you're there, get a coffee cup or a t-shirt. Y'all be good. We'll see you next time.